Are you wondering what kind of business you'd like to get into, but you have no idea what type of business that you can get into? And perhaps because maybe you don't have the funding in order to start a business. Because some people believe that in order to start a business, you need to have a lot of money and, open up a store and buy like thousands of dollars worth of inventory. And that's not true. You don't need thousands of dollars to start a business, and you don't need a store. No, what you need to do is start right where you are, and you have to start with what you have, because everybody who has a business today started somewhere. Now, some people were able to afford to get either a loan, or maybe family gave them money, or they were able to get some kind of funding to start their business, and they were able to buy a store right away, or a property, or they were able to start renting a space, like maybe a room or an office or a building or a store. But not everybody's case is that way. Some people who have acquired success right now, they did not start that way. Some of those people started out in their little tiny apartments, and their apartments became so full of all of their inventory, and that's where they were selling from. And then they grew once they were able to, they began to generate enough of an income where they were then able to move out of their apartments, move into a bigger apartment or their own house. Maybe they were renting the house. And then eventually they were able to rent their own store and eventually buy their own store. And some people are living inside their store because they have an apartment upstairs, and then their store is downstairs, right? Some people are living in apartments, like in buildings where their business is on the first floor, and they live at the top or in the basement, and they have other people living on the other floors that belong, like that they have on their buildings. Like, for example, it could be a 5-story building or a 4-story building, right? And the business owner is living in one of those floors while they're using the other spaces in their building as rental, like income property, while the first floor has the store. You understand what I'm saying? So everybody starts out a different way. And if you don't have any money, believe me, you have something. You have something in your home that you can start with. So, like, for example, if you like to cook, and even if you don't like to cook, you need to learn to cook something so that you can sell. Start off with something easy. Baking is very easy. But if you know how to make something, then start there. Make something that you really love. Even if you don't know how to make your favorite meal, learn how to make it. Learn how to make it well, and then you can start selling it. You can do your research as to how you can market that, your favorite meal, because you don't have to have a huge production company. You need to start with an idea. Hold on. Okay, so you need to start with an idea. So, for example, say you like, there's a soup that you really, really love, and you want to market it. So, once you have made it, like, maybe you might want to improve it. If you think it needs improving, then you improve it. And if not, then you just leave it as it is. But you really have to do your research about how to market the food that you want. Okay, so first things first, you learn how to make whatever you love, like that soup I was saying, and then you market that. And then you have to, you have to, like, do your research about how to get it out into the market. You have to research that, because you can't just, you can't make your soup and then approach a large grocery store and say, I would like to sell this here. It doesn't work that way. You have to do your research for how you're going to get your product into, the market. That's what you need to do. I'm just trying to tell you, I'm giving you little tiny steps for how to start your business. You have to have an idea, okay, and then you have to think about how you're going to get it out there. But the easiest way, for a lot of people, the easiest way to start a business is to start with food, because it's everybody has to eat, right? Everybody has to eat, everybody has to drink. You know, you can start a food business or a drinking business. Not a drinking like in alcohol, no, like, you know, like a beverage, like a juice, something like that, right? And so like I said like baking is really easy. Some people are so intimidated by baking. I knew this professional chef who was intimidated by baking because they never baked. They did like high-end foods and all that, but they never baked. So I was really shocked. I was really shocked when they told me that they didn't bake. I'm like, what? In my mind, I was saying, but you are a high-end chef and you're intimidated by baking? It's so easy. It really is easy, guys. I love baking. I'm not a professional, but I love baking. So yeah, you know, do baking. Baking's really easy. Like, for example, learn cookies normally take like between 10 to 15 minutes to bake. The cookies that I bake, like I bake two types of cookies. One is one is with whole wheat, and the other one is gluten-free. The one that is whole wheat, for some reason, I don't know why my cookies turn out that way, but my cookies, it takes 40 minutes to completely cook, like for it to be safe to eat, because there are eggs in there. They take 40 to 45 minutes to finish baking, and the gluten-free ones only take between 10 to 15 minutes long. And I guess because there are eggs in there too, but I think maybe it's the flour. But the thing is, with whole wheat flour, normally whole wheat flour cookies only take 10 minutes, but for some reason mine take 40 to 45 minutes. And people go crazy for my cookies. So I am in the process of doing research about how to market the cookies that I like to make. So you see, guys, so what I'm trying to say is make something that's easy. If you're intimidated by making a meal like a soup or a chicken meal or something like that, make something that is easy, something that is fast. And baking is really fast. It's a very fast thing to do. Make sure that your cookies don't take 40 minutes, because that's not fast. The preparation process is 15 minutes, and then it takes 40 to 45 minutes to finish baking. So that's a long process. So make sure that your cookies, when they finish baking, they really do only take between 10 to 15 minutes, because if you're going to get into a baking business, you want something that's going to be fast, because you know, if you're going to, the moment you start getting orders, you want to be able to produce these cookies really fast, right? So also look into making your cookies, your cookie dough, that you can freeze it. Like I checked to see if I experimented with the cookies that I make, and I can freeze the cookie dough made from the whole wheat. I haven't tried it yet with the gluten-free one, but I froze some of the whole wheat cookie dough, raw cookie dough, and I froze it, and then the next day I baked them, and they came out as the same way as if I had just made the dough fresh, and they were really amazing. There was no difference in the taste. So make sure that you can, if you want that option, because some people like to bake their own cookies, make sure that you can have your cookie dough also be made to, like, they can freeze it. So just experiment. When you make your cookie dough, freeze it, and then take it out the next day and bake them and see how they turn out. And if, you know, just experiment, right? So if your cookie dough can be frozen, then that's an option that you have for your customers. Because some people really like to bake on their own, and other people, they don't want to bake. They just want to buy the cookies readily available. So then that's when they'll have the options to buy your readily made cookies, okay? So that's another idea. So make sure, guys, that you just make something, you know, I think that getting into a food business, baking in particular, will be the fastest way for you to start a business that you will want to, you know, grow. Because if baking is not something that you want to stay with forever, Although you can leave it there because now you have a customer base. Once you have a customer base, you can then grow, expand your business to include other things. Maybe you know what? Maybe you want to do woodworking, which is completely different from baking, right? So, but you have to start somewhere that's like an easy route to where you want to get to. You understand? So start someplace that will help you to start your business with the least possible expenses, with the least expenses as possible, so that then you can grow your business to where you want to be. So one day you will have your own store, and in one section you will have the baking area. In the other area, another department will be your woodworking. So you have to start somewhere in order to get to where you want to be. So guys, make sure that you click on one of the cards at the end of this video. Wait a few minutes or a few seconds, not a few minutes, a few seconds, and click on the card. What am I talking about? Oh, I didn't make a card. Oh, okay. What I'm talking about is I made these Facebook, I made some pages back on Facebook for people for like low cost business ideas, but these pages were for specific countries. I did not include Canada or the US. So, and yeah, at this point I will not be making another page because it's too exhausting managing all these pages, because at some point I'm not going to be able to manage these pages. I'm going to have to get other people to do it. Yeah, because I'm going to be really busy doing other things. So I cannot create another page for North America. So that's what I would have done. I didn't think about it, but because like I have so many friends from like I have a lot of friends like in different parts of the world, so I created some pages for low-cost business ideas for those countries, but I didn't think about doing it for Canada or the US because I was just so focused on them, But anyway. So anyway, guys, so like I said, just do your research, right? And you know what? If you do happen to have the finances to buy the tools that you need in order to get into what you want to do, like woodworking or making shoes, like making slippers, like easy slippers, or crochet, or if you want to do carpentry, yeah, like woodworking, I suppose, woodworking. What else? If you want to make bird houses or children's little miniature houses, dolls, made out of cloth. If you want to write a book, right? If you want to write a book, that's a different thing. But if you want to write a book to sell it, then you have to do research about how to write a book, and then do research how to publish your book. Do that research, right? If you want to own a retail shop, like if you want to own a candy store, if you want to own a store where, like a hardware store, anything like that, guys, whatever you want to do, but where you need, like, where you do have the finances to get into this stuff, then you have to start doing research about how to learn. Like, for example, you want to do carpentry, but you don't know how to do carpentry. So start watching videos about how to do carpentry. If you want to learn how to do plumbing, I think you need to be certified to be a plumber, but you can start learning how to do that through YouTube videos. Research how to do plumbing, and you really have to be serious about whenever it comes to anything that you have to learn that's dealing with giving the public a service. You have to be serious because you're dealing with, laws and regulations. But I'm just saying, like, for plumbing, you need to really learn that very carefully, because if if you don't know what you're doing with plumbing, right, you can possibly cause just some kind of damage in somebody's house, and you don't want to be sued, right? So that's why I say you need to be very careful about when you do research to learn how to like, the when you're gonna learn how to do plumbing, right? So I think plumbing, it requires an apprenticeship or something, but whatever you're gonna get into, if it requires certification and apprenticeship, you need to research on YouTube and learn as much as you can, so that when you go and take the course, you already know more than you don't. You understand? You have already learned, you have already absorbed in a lot of what is involved in the training process, so that it'll be easy for you to pass the courses and the tests and all of that, right? So yeah, so whatever you need, whatever you want to get into, and you don't know how to do that, start to learn how to do it through YouTube videos. You see, guys, okay, so I make jewelry, right? Like, I make jewelry and some other things. So 6 years ago, I started to, like, I did research about what is needed, what are the tools that are needed for jewelry. So I wrote down a list of all the tools, and then I ordered them from a store here in Toronto. So then I got those tools, and then I started to order the types of, the threads and the beads, and what kind of beads, and everything that is necessary in order to put together a necklace and bracelets and earrings and brooches, and anything that has to do with learning how to assemble jewelry. I had to learn because it's very, like, if you look at a necklace, you think, oh, that's so easy, they just put beads together and they tied it. No, it doesn't work that way. There's a lot that goes into putting together any piece of jewelry. There's very specific things that you need to learn, and it's like a never ending learning process, because there's so much that you need to learn about jewelry. If you want to do things right, if you want to do things the proper way, you really have to pay attention as to how to go about making a bracelet the right way. There's an easy way to make a bracelet, and then there's a more there's a harder way. So like with anything, there are stages. There's a beginner, there's intermediate, and then there's advanced, right? And the higher you get, the more difficult, technical things, so that's why if you want to learn how to make something, you need to do research. Because I was watching videos about how to make jewelry for beginners. So make sure that when you do your research, you do your research. Okay, for example, how to make a birdhouse for beginners, like that. How to make baby crochet shoes for beginners. How to make a skateboard for beginners, right? How to do plumbing for beginners, because that's out there. Anything that you want to learn how to make for your business, research it and make sure that you put in for beginners, because that's the easiest way. That's what you want. You want to learn from a video that is teaching people at the beginning stages, like for beginners, right? And you know what? For me, it was so frustrating, because I'm like, I'm gonna give up. Well, I didn't want to give up, but in my mind I was like, because I came across a lot of frustrations with learning. When I was learning how to make a necklace, I became so frustrated, because at the time it was hard for me, because I was just a beginner, and I'm like, I don't want to do this. I want to give up. I don't want to do this anymore. I'm so tired. But the thing is, I thought about it. I'm like, well, I can't give up, because I've already bought the tools. I already have the inventory. I cannot just give up. What am I going to do with all this stuff? And the thing is, I wanted to start a jewelry business. So then why would I give up? I wasn't going to give up, but that's how frustrated I was. I would never give up, but that is how frustrated I was. So it's I just learned, like, way back then, like 6 years ago, I said, well, I know that I'm frustrated, but this is what happens when you're first learning something. You're going to come across bumps and struggles and frustrations, and that you want to give up, but you just keep going, because when you keep going, eventually you will get to where you need to be. And eventually, of course, I got to where I no longer struggled with certain problems that I was having in creating a necklace or anything else. And now I don't have a problem with creating necklaces because I didn't give up, you know? So, yeah, I'm hoping that this video is making sense, because sometimes I ramble on and I think I sort of don't make sense sometimes. So, because sometimes I will repeat myself over and over again, and then I will go into something else that will have nothing to do with what I was just saying, and then I will jump right back into what I was saying, so it will kind of not make sense, kind of like a run-on sentence. But anyway, I'm hoping that what I just said made sense. Okay, so basically what you want to do is, when you start a business, when you have a desire to start a business and you don't have the funds to buy whatever you need to get started, you need to start where you are. Start with what you have. Like I said, I might be wrong, but I think the easiest way to get into a business is to start off by providing a food like the baking, because it's so easy. Baking is easy, and it's a fast production. Yes, you do need to buy the supplies, but you're not going to spend $1,000 just to start your business with making cookies. For example, you can just go out to the store and buy a pound? How many? Anyway, go to the store and buy yourself some flour, however big or small the bag of flour is in your store. You know, don't buy the gigantic ones, like the bulk ones. You don't need the bulk ones right now, because you need to spread out your money with all, like, for the rest of the supplies, right? You have to buy your flour, you have to buy eggs, you have to buy butter, you have, hold on. Uma! Hold on! My cat, she's meowing. I just fed her. What time is it? Okay, I'm looking down at my watch. It is 3:40, and she eats at 4 o'clock. So, but I just gave her like a snack or something. Anyway, so you need to buy your flour, okay, and also salt and baking powder and baking soda, and your extracts like vanilla extract. You might want to add something extra like cocoa powder. Make sure it's make sure it is dark, unsweetened cocoa powder, okay? Because that's the best powder to work with. And also you need your sugar, right? You also need what else? You also, if you don't have baking supplies, you have to buy baking supplies. Like, nothing major, okay? You just make sure that you buy like a cookie sheet. You don't have to buy like a cookie molds. You don't need to buy cookie molds, because that's an extra cost that is not needed or necessary. Because what you're going to be doing is, when you make your cookies, you're going to be shaping them in your hand. You're going to be rolling them up, okay? And then you're going to be flattening them out, flattening them up. Is that how you say flattening? You're going to flatten them up. Or depending on your cookie dough, you might just need to scoop them and then place them as they are on the cookie sheet, okay? So you don't need to buy extra things that are not necessary right now, because you're just starting out and you only need the basics, which is just perfect, right? So just make sure you buy yourself a small bag of flour, and you start there, and with all those other ingredients and your cookie sheet. And you don't need to buy a bowl. You probably have a big bowl at home, and if you don't, go to the dollar store and get the majority of the things that I just said, if they have them there. Okay, you can just go to the dollar store. If you need a spatula, go to the dollar store. All that stuff. Research baking supplies. And you're going to get like a list of all kinds of supplies that are most likely not necessary for your stage at this hour. Just get the most basic needs for you to start your business. And there you go. And then don't forget to create for yourselves a Facebook page. Once you have already learned how to make a cookie that you like, you then just start to, well, you have to create a Facebook page for your business. But guys, before you start to advertise your business, you have to register your business. You have to register your business, and also like get in contact with your local, like your local city hall. Well, there's only one city hall in your wherever you're living. So just get in touch with your city hall and tell them you'd like to start a business and you want to know what is it like, what are the steps, the legal steps, the documents that you need in order to open up a business. And they're going to tell you what you need. You need to register it. You also need to look for, like, once you have your name, you have to do a search for that name, because if it already exists, you can't use that name. So this is why City Hall is there to help you. They will direct you to the right department for where they're going to give you all kinds of information for how to start your business. So that's how important it is, guys, because you need to register your business, because there are taxes involved. And if you start a business and you make money and you don't pay your taxes, guess what? They're going to come looking for you, and then they're going to put you in jail for tax evasion. You want to do things the right way, and make sure that when you're dealing with the legal side of the legal end of things, all of your documents, you have to file them away very carefully in a neat place. Be very neat about the way you are operating your business. It's just not all fun and games like where you're going to be selling and making money. No, you have to see also, you have to be very responsible for the legal end, because you want to do things the right way, and you never want to come across any trouble like that. Let that be for other people who are right now operating, and they are on purpose hiding their taxes and making money without registering. That's very dangerous, because the Lord Jesus will eventually expose them. He's giving them an opportunity to make things right. But for those who will not make things right, He will expose them, and then those people are going to be dealt with your local government. So don't be like one of those people. Okay, so contact your city hall and tell them that you want to start a business and you don't know where to begin. And they will tell you everything. They know everything. And don't be afraid. They're there to help you. Okay, guys, so if you have any questions, okay, any comments, just post them and I will answer them the best way that I can. And yeah, I guess so. So, let me know what ideas you have to start a business, and give me updates for how you guys are doing. Give me updates. Okay, guys? I'm going to pray for you guys. I'll continue praying for you guys. And thanks for coming by, and give this video a thumbs up, a like if you liked it. Yeah. And my channel is about all kinds of things. So I invite you to click on my picture and subscribe. And don't forget to click on the bell beneath the video, so that every time I post a video, you'll be notified, okay? If you don't click the bell, you're going to be notified only once in a while. But if you click the bell, you'll be notified for every time I upload a video. Okay, guys? Okay, guys, so God bless you. And what else? Yeah, ask God. Guys, you know what? Tell God. Dedicate your business to God. Don't forget to tithe and give offerings faithfully, and say, Lord, I dedicate my business to you, and you will prosper, because He promises that in the Bible. But for people who are just tithing and giving offerings once in a while, it's not going to happen for you. Be faithful, guys. No matter how hard it is, be faithful. Continue to tithe, because tithing and giving offerings is what's going to open the floodgates, like God says. He's going to open up the floodgates and just knock you out with wealth. He promises that. Okay, guys, I love you all. God bless you. And don't forget to subscribe. Ciao, ciao.